Hey everyone, today I got a special treat for you all. I'm going to be going through 3 games with a very high level player. But first, let me explain why I'm doing this. This was over a year ago. I played these games with a very high level player, Frankenstein, the top player at the time, back in June of 2022. And yeah, so this player and a lot of the top players play the Agora expansion, or play with both expansions. Now, myself, I don't play with the Agora expansion, but I'm realizing I'm at this level where I need to kind of start learning the Agora expansion before I can get better at the game. So, like Pantheon can only take me so far, I'm feeling. So, I've joined a tournament outside of Board Game Arena called the Mind Sports Olympiad. And in that, they have an only Agora tournament, and I was wondering how they ran their tournament, and they actually run it through Board Game Arena's tournament setup, but they have their own, like, the actual gameplay is through Board Game Arena, but they have their own tournament brackets, and you just tell them what your table number is and things like that. They do this for Great Western Trail and Gaia Project. And anyways, so I'm trying to get good at that. So I've played one game in that Mind Sports Olympiad so far. I've won it. There's going to be a lot more after that. But anyways, um, this this is me just practicing just an only Agora. So if my thought is if I can get good with only Agora, I could then fuse the two, Agora and Pantheon, to become a top 10 player eventually. But I think that'll take some time. Right now, I'm set to win this one. It seems like a political victory is very doable with the, you know, 200 level, 100 level players. Like, it seems just completely like super easy to pull off one of those victories. I have no extra turn wonders, as you can see right here. And my opponent just used all their extra turns, and I think they miscounted on the cards because I was able to take an extra turn with this decree token offsetting the cards so much that I'm going to take this now, and it doesn't matter what I do with it. I'll discard it for coins because now they don't have any more extra turns. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Maybe there's something in the meta of the Agora expansion that makes you want to, um, like, discard, or I'm wanting to discard right now, but maybe there's something in the meta that makes you want to build all of your wonders in age one, potentially. I don't know, but like I said, this is just a 200 level player, so I mean they're just learning. But anyway, so as you can see, I'm going to be able to take this one, and I'm choosing to just discard it for 3 coins, and they are going to have to take this one, making me take this white card. And the way the white cards work is based on how many blue cards you have, you actually move, or you can do movements or gain influence in sections of the um, whatever this is. This is called the Agora. Sections of the Agora, which is, I guess, is like the Senate for them. Okay, so on their turn they're gonna do that. But anyways, I'll just show you where Frankenstein, this player I was talking to you all about, is currently. And I don't think they play Arena. Um, I don't think that. Let's see if I can get a bigger screen here. Yeah, so they don't play Arena, but they Snow Wonder, reigning champion of the Arena, and I I imagine since Snow Wonder is a top 10 player, they probably play Pantheon and Agora. So got some great top players right here. These are all the top 10 ones. Me myself, I'm only 17th, and I've never been in the top 10. Um, but there's other top 20 players that have been the number one player. So, anyways, Frankenstein has been the number one before, and like I said, played a game with him in June of 2022. Played 3 games. He agreed to play 3 games with me, and I asked him if I was allowed to post about the games on my channel, and he said yes, sure, whatever. And then also something to note: Tony97 is Silent Protest, so Silent Protest has made it to the number one slot. And anyways, Frankenstein is almost to the top here. But back up to the top. Very, very similar elos right there. But anyways, so yeah. Now I just think it's funny, like their flags are different, but they are the same person, I guess. Okay, so different servers. They're running for different must be a VPN or something. Anyways, so Frankenstein said he agreed that I could post on the channel. He agreed to 3 matches, and then he agreed to he would have done elo on like a non-training mode, a non-friendly mode, but I could only do it turn-based at the time. Yeah, my daughter had just been born, so we were taking care of a young daughter still in the NICU, and he said that he'd just do friendly game with me. So with that, we'll just go through and see the different games. So here is the first game that I played versus Frankenstein. All right, this is a good camera, I think, here. So we're looking at the different wonders. So right now I chose so my opponent Frankenstein chose the Divine Theater, and then I choose Circus Maximus, I believe. And then I chose the Great Lighthouse because I feel like Great Lighthouse is overall better than the Pyramids. And then it came to me, I chose Temple of Artemis because Temple of Artemis is just so great. Appian Way was taken, and then I think Colossus got taken over the Great Library, which is crazy for me because I feel like the Pantheon expansion Great Library is better than Colossus, but this was a year ago. Maybe the meta was different back then. But yeah, you could grab through the Great Lighthouse, or through the Great Library, you could grab a lot of great things from that. Especially at this setup, like you couldn't grab law, but you could get strategy or theology. So Frankenstein chooses yellow. That's what I would have chosen first. And oh yeah, and Frankenstein agreed to do any setup. He said, "I'll play you any way that you want." I think he saw my channel, or maybe I reached out to him, one of the two, and then he started seeing my stuff, and then I gave him some files for to make the tier lists that he's made on Board Game Arena, the forums, and I use those tier lists whenever I play an Agora match every now and then to figure out how to rank the decree tokens or do the conspiracies. But anyways, so continuing on, I've got a wood. They've got. So we're focusing on resources in the beginning. That was just surprising to me that Great Library was taken over Colossus. I wonder if they were thinking just beat me in military. So they probably put Mars close to themselves and thinking that they can just easily rock me. And then I get Frankenstein discarded the science because they're playing like an Agora player, so they're thinking science is not that useful because in Agora, not that useful. It's very different. So watching an Agora player playing the Pantheon expansion, it's very exciting. Okay, so Frankenstein probably going to grab resources right now at this point. And then me, I was always big into science, but I got a lot more into it this year, 2023. But probably here I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll just go for science and defend against my opponent's military. I recognized probably that they had put Mars close to themselves and had taken Colossus. Anyways, so now, yep. So they've discarded 2 science cards at this point. I'm hoping for a Hades to grab one of them. And that may occur if it's close to myself, but likely Aphrodite's up there. Maybe they're hoping for a points win. Although Frankenstein, their playstyle is very much don't win by points, win by military, or in the Agora, a Senate victory. So I end up Using an extra turn. What was I thinking? That was really dumb of me to use an extra turn there, I think. Yeah, I guess I was pretty immature at the game there. Just because I wanted the clay. I guess I didn't want them to build Colossus or Appian Way as easily, but wasting an extra turn there, that was really dumb. And then I built the Great Lighthouse. What was I thinking? Why not build Great Library and then hope for Theology and then build Great Lighthouse to get an extra turn out of it? So yeah, looking back at my own play, this was really bad play for myself. Yeah, using that extra turn was just not good. And you see now, my opponent doesn't even have to use an extra turn, and they get the start of the next stage. Sure, I was able to get Tavern because I did that, and I was so aggressive with the extra turns, but this was back in mid 2022. I was very into the Great Lighthouse, and if I ever got it, I would try to build it early. I was thinking how I could use each wonder effectively, and I thought some wonders were classified as early game wonders, and so build them early. Now I'm thinking, don't even worry about wonders. That's not the main point of the game. There's only like top 7 wonders that you really need to ever build. So like really need to focus on. But anyways, Frankenstein chooses who goes first, and they choose themselves, which is a main thing that you do. But what was curious is they didn't build the gate, and I have enough for the gate. So, and they had enough for the gate, but they just want to grab Tanit, I guess. I don't understand it. But I'm able to grab Law out of this. I think that's what I end up grabbing. Don't know why, but now my opponent's probably going to try on gate. It just makes sense to build the gate. Oh, maybe the reason why I built the Temple of Artemis was probably because I knew my opponent had the Divine Theater and could raw me, and I didn't want to get rawed. But anyways, because I was greedy and wanted Law, my opponent ends up taking Enki and grabbing Economy, which I'm going to suffer with Glass with the Economy and nothing really else. Maybe just Glass. So if I can get Glass, I'll be fine against this Economy strategy that they're pulling off. All right. Then so I take Ball and I take away the brick. Then I end up getting pushed in military too, and now I can't afford Mars. So this is the real key where they wanted me. They wanted me to be low on coins so that I couldn't fight back. And I think it might end in a military victory by Frankenstein, potentially. Because that Colossus, that's really dangerous. Maybe I try to build the Circus Maximus, even though it does cost a glass. Um, wow, what was I thinking? Yep. And then I get really pushed in military, but I have this science thing helping me potentially, and I have Circus Maximus to fall back on. And you see how the top #1 player plays with their wonders? They don't build them, and that's something that I've just learned. You don't build the wonders. So I end up uh, revealing the dispensary and having it being taken from me. And there's no Hades, so the only way I can win in science is if I get both science in the next stage, and I have no extra turns to do it. Um, and then now I'm gonna get rocked with military here. So Mars is gonna be taken, and then okay. So I allow my opponent to choose. Do you want to keep pushing me in military, or do you want to get the the money right there? And I think they end up just choosing to keep going in military and win the game that way. But I tried to bait them maybe. Yeah, but wow, I even used the something with so many coins to block them off from making their wonders cheaper, I guess. Yeah, but still, Colossus is going to be very easily attainable. Yeah, one single discard and they've got it. Yeah, and then they just build Colossus and it ends in a military victory. So there you have it, folks. That was how the first game ended up playing out. And all right. Now you see, let's move on to the next one. So first game, terrible. I just got obliterated. Next game, let's go through it a little bit at a time. So I'm going to take the, or no, yeah, now I start. I guess this is from Frankenstein's point of view, as Frankenstein's at the bottom, now I'm at the top. So I was first player. Okay, so I got Appian Way. My opponent takes Mausoleum and Colossus again. Interesting that they like Colossus more. Because I've always felt that Colossus is one of the weaker military wonders. I get that it has its strength of being the only 2 shield automatically, but yeah, I just didn't really expect my a top player to do that, but maybe that is the right way to go, or maybe it's just they knew that I had a weakness in allowing military losses. Also here, I take Piraeus. Oh no, I took the Temple of Artemis instead of the. Oh no, I did end up taking the Divine Theater. Yeah, yeah. So my opponent took Temple of Artemis, and I ended up taking Divine Theater. So hard to read everything, but yeah, Frankenstein did actually let me have the Divine Theater. I think they were thinking in their mind they can't let me have 3 extra turns. That's probably a internal rule that they have, that at least give themselves 1 extra turn, and if I end up using the Divine Theater to use as raw, they have ways to defend against that. You can build your 1 extra turn and then unbuild it potentially. So yeah, just different moves there. I don't know. I always just take Divine Theater, and if I have no extra turn wonders, then I can play like a passenger and just, unless I can get theology, but I can just build all my wonders early and try to force them to deny me of science, and maybe I still win in points. But generally, if I have extra turns, then I'm going for science fully, rather than as a counter to the points, and then they have to counter the science. Back to the game, though. Game at hand. Frankenstein just grabbed a clay pit. Then I'm low on coins, only have 5 coins, so I had to discard the stables, but that's one you wanted to discard anyways. Frankenstein gets to choose a Mesopotamian god to put down. Puts the Mesopotamian god close to myself, so likely it's going to be Nisaba, because they're not going to build any science, so that's a good strategy if you want to fight against somebody like that. Now, like, this is what I was talking about. When your opponent has Divine Theater, the fear is they're going to use Ra against you. Now, Frankenstein did put, you see, they have an Egyptian token, so they did put an Egyptian token close to them. I wonder if that Egyptian token is the one that allows you to rebuild a wonder. Because if that's the case, then they want to get Temple of Artemis out of there at the right moment. And right then, they chose to be the right moment because there was no good option. They would either reveal a good card or a great card, and they chose to just go for the good card, the gray card. A better move might have been to take the wood reserve, but it actually wouldn't have been good because then they allow me to then they allow me to grab another an Egyptian god token, and an Egyptian god token could be Ra, and if they're using Ra against me, or if I'm using raw against them, then that's not good. Let's take a look. Okay, so I end up. Oh, Frankenstein actually builds a science. That was interesting. So maybe they're thinking that this is going to be a tough game. This was a very tough game for them. They have, every right to try a science victory and swap their strategies here. Maybe they are hoping that they can get theology potentially. And so I wonder what that Mesopotamian god is, and I wonder what the Egyptian god is, because I haven't seen this game in over a year. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But I do end up getting to put an Egyptian god, and it looks like I put it close to them, so maybe I just want the gate close to myself, and likely I just put Isis out, or yeah. Anubis is the one that. Sorry, I've been saying Isis wrong. Anubis is the one that lets you rebuild a wonder. Isis right here, that's the one that lets you take a card from the discard pile to build a wonder. Now they've placed Raw close to themselves, and now I can use Raw to take from them, but then they will use Gate to um, make them be able to have the Temple of Artemis, is my guess, using Anubis. So I think the right move still is to use Raw, otherwise I'm going to get Rawed myself, and I have the coins for it. But it's just so sad I'm going to have to give up the brewery. And yeah, so I do take Raw, put it up there with myself, and then I guess the right move would be to take Mausoleum, maybe. Yeah, Mausoleum's a good one. It's one of those middle ones, in my opinion. Although in that last game, it looks like Great Library was not the right move. Colossus would have been the right move for me. Didn't know I would die by military. You gotta be careful with these top players. Their military averages are very high, higher than the average of whatever they're playing, and a lot of them are playing Agora, and most Agora players are winning with, politics or or points, but they end up pulling in these military wins. And even if they're just a Pantheon player, they win in military a lot. And I think it's because they're just trying to just end the game early. They're just like, well, I can beat them any way I want. Let's just end it in H2. So that is an interesting strategy that I wouldn't want to use a let's go grab all military cards against another top 20 player, but you know, I would consider it against somebody who is a weaker elo player and just try to end the game early. Maybe that's what they're trying to go for. I don't know. But here I really push in military a lot. And there's no way Frankenstein's going to die by military here. So Frankenstein takes Tanit. I don't have the coins to do what I need to do, which is go for all those military. None of my wonders you can see all up in there. Like none of them are able to buy. The most expensive one being 13 with the Mausoleum. Mausoleum is always so expensive, and that's why it's not a top wonder. It's just very expensive, and also no extra turn. But it does have a cool ability. And bam, bam, I use both of my extra turns. Why did I do that? I think I just really I knew my opponent had 2 extra turns with the Colossus and Circus Maximus, and I wanted to make sure they didn't get Law. And so I do that, and maybe take Architecture. Trying to guess what I would have done back then. Yeah, Architecture, so that all my wonders are a lot cheaper. And I was really doing that to deny them a science, because if they can get that science and they can get Law, then I'm in trouble with science. So my opponent builds the Colossus, and now I could try to build a military, but I can't actually. It's oh no, it's still their turn because remember they have theology. So I need to make the screen bigger or go down so you all can see that my opponent has that. Then I end up building statue of Zeus. Try to make it just build all of my wonders before they can build their wonders. We're just going at it like passengers instead of pilots. Just build the wonders as fast as we can. And yep, then I just discard a brickyard. I need some coins. I'm very low on coins. My opponent has tons of coins because they've got the right way to play it. And the right way to play is you have just a ton of yellow. You have a ton of yellow cards, and then you're able to switch strategies. You know, and if your opponent tries to monopolize you, you can defend against it because you have just tons of coins. So grabbing a lot of yellow, so good. And then my opponent denies me the ability to have the Divine Theater. I wonder what would have been a good buy with the Divine Theater. I don't know. I ended up what I end up getting for I ended up grabbing the Brickyard. So I guess I didn't want to have, not enough brick going into the next stage, but really I'm going to be hurting in gray resources now. And then I discard the laboratory because I don't want them to have that. Then I guess they get to grab a nice token out of it. They're maybe going to grab law, but probably not. I just don't see the top players going science. Like for science win, but it was open for theology and he made it happen. So that was my bad to allow that to happen. All right, so I gotta choose an age card, and I choose. Frankenstein chooses a science symbol. I don't want them to win in science, but if they can keep pushing me, so I'm at 21 points. They're at 11, and if they keep pushing me in science, they can actually make themselves win in science. So this top player is actually going for science. I'm gonna scooch this down a little bit so you can see how much as far as science they have. Camera's not showing the 2 brick that I have, but other than that and the architecture, but those aren't useful. Anyways, so then Frankenstein chooses law. They're at 5 of 6 symbols. I've allowed them to get Ishtar, or yeah, Ishtar for the law token. And now Frankenstein, unfortunately, has to take this one because they don't have enough coins to be able to offset anything. And I made sure I had a lot of coins so that I could at least pick a god card instead of picking a card from by force and then allowing them to take a science card that would make them win. But the last science is still out there. They could still grab it. I end up thinking the game's going to come down to points, so stop pushing in military. They've pushed 5 shields, and I've pushed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shields. Yeah, so we're right dead in the middle. Their shields are from their wonders mainly. So neither of us going military. I wonder if I go gate here. Yeah, I think I go gate because I don't want to reveal that last card because it might be a science. Which wonder did I activate? Looks like I activated the one that lets you. I end up grabbing all Egyptian gods that game. Why didn't my opponent ever take that god? That would have been great for them. They could have re-got the Temple of Artemis. Well, anyways, now I have an extra turn. That was pretty good of myself to do because now I can choose how the game's gonna go. Hey, they do get the 3 coins and max out their 6 coins from having 3 wonders built. But now I use an extra turn to be able to check what that card is, and that was the card that I needed to stop them from getting. I end up just taking it for points. And then Frankenstein ends up building the town hall for 6 points. So now it's coming down to points. So I'm at 35 versus 26. We got 2 temples up there. These Mesopotamian Grand Temples taken by Frankenstein. And then I take, and that was a free build for them. And then I take the Greek one. Not a free build for that. 2 coins spent. But it's 35 points for me, 26 points for them. They take yet another yellow card, and that's a very good one to take. I'm at 7 coins. They're at 24 coins. We each have a temple. Military is tied. The game ends with me discarding Praetorium for only 4 coins. But I think this game is the one that I end up winning by 1 single point. So I had everything going for me too, and I only won by 1 point. Insane how good the top player was and probably still is. All right, and now we go into the final game. All right, so in this one, Frankenstein starts, and Frankenstein's gonna choose the Temple of Artemis, and then I choose Piraeus and Sanctuary, and then Pyramids is taken. Now, I thought that maybe Appian Way would be good, so I have 3 extra turns. But I guess if you already have an extra turn, the right move is to take Divine Theater. I actually think just taking Divine Theater anyways and forgetting about extra turns might be the right answer sometimes. But that is my playstyle, not the one that I want to really recommend. It looks like the way Frankenstein plays is take the Divine Theater if you already have an extra turn, or if you think you could get an extra turn. Now, at this point, Frankenstein did ask me, why did you, this is a year ago, I think it was something like, why did you give me Divine Theater? And I was like, oh, I didn't want you to have the Appian Way as an extra turn. And then they're like, don't do that. Like, Divine Theater is so good. But we had just done a game where I didn't even use the Divine Theater, so I'm thinking, well, Divine Theater ended up not being good. I didn't know how to use Divine Theater that well back then. I think I was only like a 400 elo player, but I was making YouTube videos thinking that I was the boss of the game. But I had a lot to learn. Anyways, I mean, I did just win against the top player with a lot of luck, but I did just win. So, anyways, here I did a kind of a dumb move. Let's see. I constructed the workshop for. See, I'm the bottom one as a science card, but that allowed my opponent now can take raw potentially. Neither of us are really going for raw. That's interesting. I think the right move would be to take an Egyptian token, but no, Frankenstein's going for science. I think they just don't really realize how useful the Egyptian tokens are, maybe. This is a year ago, so they're still learning, but I think now the meta is you take the Egyptian token every time. Because I could, like, take the Egyptian token and deny them raw and put it close to myself so that they can't do an early raw with Divine Theater. Maybe top players aren't even going for that. Maybe top players are just thinking, oh, just go military and end the game early. I don't know. But I would have played Agora with them, but I think these turn-based games ended up being very long, and so if Frankenstein did end up losing against me, is really because I was taking a long time for my turns. I had a lot going on in my life at that point. Still do, but like, yeah, it just it wasn't courteous to them as far as their time. They just wait and wait for me to make a turn, and I could throughout the day think about what turn I was going to make while I was doing things for work or for family, and And then when I'd finally get on, I was like all thinking about how I was going to beat Frankenstein, and Frankenstein's just like, let's just get this game over with. And still, even with that mindset, winning by or losing only by 1 point, that is insane how good the top player is. So yeah, let's keep on going. I have a really cool setup right here of 2 yellow cards, but that's not even anything good compared to Frankenstein sitting at one of every single resource. That's a really good situation to be in. Now, I will say I would not have taken that wood. With only 1 coin in Frankenstein's position, and the opponent myself having 13 coins, definitely no for for taking the wood. I would have discarded the wood for sure and gotten some coins because I already had the wood reserve. So that's just me. That's how I would have gone. Now, there is something to say that 3 of the 4 wonders they have do cost wood, and wood is a good one to have. But nah, discarding for coins is the right answer there, I feel, because you want to have coins to defend in Age 2 when everybody's gunslinging all those Pantheon God cards. Alright, so Frankenstein does the cool, fun thing at the very end where they build the Temple of Artemis to take the first turn in the next stage, and they are able to take Ra. Yep. And so here, I think they did end up telling me, maybe right here, they said you should have. It was either the first game or the. Go back to the first game. Did they raw me in the first game? I rawed them in the second game. First game, nobody rawed anybody. Second game, I rawed them and I won. And now this one, I don't want to spoil it, but it seems like Raw has a high chance of helping somebody win the game. All right, so they take away Piraeus. That's the right wonder to take, I feel like. Temple of Artemis, Hanging Gardens, and then Piraeus as far as good extra turn wonders go. Piraeus has a bad side that it's better to be built early, and so it incentivizes you to throw it away early. But having the ability to not need gray cards is pretty useful. All right, so I am going to science strategy. I've got 3 of 6 science so far. Looks like the science tree's coming on the bottom, and I'm gonna have to focus in on that. But Frankenstein ends up moving in military, so they're doing a military route, and they have that extra science symbol in the very back right there that they're hoping to grab to maybe get. Oh, this is not a very juicy selection here for progress tokens. Maybe urbanism is a good one. Yeah, I wonder which one they end up taking. They've got Nisaba close to themselves, and I put Nisaba close to them. In fact, I put all the gods out there, so I had full control over where the gods went for this one, and I still messed it up. Well, yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Then, so Frankenstein ends up taking or I take Mars, push back. Frankenstein ends up discarding the form for 4 coins. They already have 15 coins. Why'd they do that? Maybe it might have been better to. Well, they have all the gray cards they need. They don't need any extra, and they even have Piraeus, so I guess it makes sense to discard that. I have Customs House. That's a really great one. I didn't realize Customs House was so great, but Gate gets chosen. Yeah, a year ago I didn't realize how good Customs House was. Gate gets chosen, and of course Anubis gets picked out of that. If they didn't end up drawing Anubis, they would have grabbed Anubis via Divine Theater, because Anubising a Temple of Artemis, that is just so many coins. Yeah, that's a great move. And every time Anubis gets played, I feel like it's usually for one of those 2 top wonders, Temple of Artemis or to redo your Divine Theater. I've never seen it done for somebody's Piraeus. I've never seen it done for somebody's own Great Lighthouse. I have done it on somebody else's Great Lighthouse before, just as a funny move, but I needed to I needed to play a god card, otherwise I would reveal a card to them. And I said, well, I haven't built any of my wonders, so I can't unbuild any of my wonders. I'll unbuild their Great Lighthouse. That was a funny move back then. But anyway, so moving on with the I'm liking where the military is right now. It's gonna give me the first turn in the next stage, and I'm going for a science strategy. Now this play right here is very similar to how I actually play now a year later, where I'm saving 2 extra turns, and I'm grabbing science cards along the way, and I don't want them to mess that up. And I even get urbanism. So urbanism, very high up. And Frankenstein and I talked a little bit after that, strategy wise and things, and we both agree that urbanism's a good one to pick. There's a lot of good cards that are also linking symbols that people just don't realize that the good card is even better because it's a linking symbol. And so you're already going to grab the good cards, but now that it's a linking symbol, like even better, like take the extra 4 coins you can get with urbanism for that. So you're already focusing on good cards. Why not get an even better benefit? It'd be different if the good cards were the non-linking symbols, but urbanism makes it even more lucrative to play how you would normally play. That's what you want to go for. Reward you for doing good things. All right, so here I do use an extra turn to get the 4th science symbol, but it's sad. Like, there's no. I didn't want them to get a science symbol and then them build something like, a 7-point progress token. Yeah, it's just sad that I end up didn't end up getting 5 science symbols, and I only have 1 extra turn. So I'm really relying on a science card to be there in age 1. And also my opponent has the ability to use Divine Theater for Zeus to be able to make it impossible for me to get a science card. So they might just do that with that face-up science card right there. I choose who goes first. I think I end up thinking the game's going to go to points, so let's count the points. Frankenstein's at 17 points, 12 coins. I'm at 14 points and 18 coins, and I use that urbanism thing to bump up my points with 4 more coins, so that's worth a point at least. And then my opponent allows me to take a science card, which also gives me 4 extra coins, so urbanism right there. I think I'm playing well. I'm not just playing lucky, I'm playing well now. I think the last game I got lucky. Here, I'm, our luck is about even. This is probably the best game of the 3. And my opponent is not going to let me take a science card. And so they use an extra turn to stop me from doing that. And then they cover it up with the pyramids. So that's going to be a lot of points there. And I wonder if I just cannot snag that last science card. I think that's what happens. I wasn't able to grab it. So here I think I'm at a tough decision. My opponent has 40 points and I'm only at 19 points. I got 30 coins, but that was only 10 more points. So really, it's, 29 points, maybe plus 5 more, 34 versus their 40 plus still 5 more coins. Plus they've got a star take. Get out of here. There's no way I'm winning in points. So I need to make a call right now. Do I use the extra turn right now to grab a science and hopefully I get it, or do I wait it out? And let's see what I end up doing. So I end up waiting it out, and I usually choose to wait it out, but it ends up being the wrong call because they are able to use it to build the Divine Theater instead of giving it to me and making me win the game in science. And they take a whole 9 points from they get the 2 points from the Divine Theater, and they get 9 points from Aphrodite. So it's really going to be heavily points game for them. they're at 51 points. Plus, don't forget the coins are not counted in that total. From Astarte's coins is 7 more points. Yeah, get out of here. There's no way I'm winning in points. However, if you get 3 of those divine temples, then you can actually make up a good amount of loss in points. And I do end up pulling that off. Get all 3 temples, that's 21 points. And then that closes the gap a little bit. And every single time I did that, it was an urbanism, I feel. I think they were. They build the last wonder. That is a nice thing about urbanism. With these temples, they're all linking symbol builds. So it makes urbanism even a tad bit better. So urbanism, really great one to have. But yeah, so my opponent's at 57 points. I'm at 30 points and 31 coins. And the extra bonus points at the end are going to go to me mainly. They're going to get 7 points. I'm going to get 21. And I'm also going to, I guess, give them 2 points with military loss. But yeah, I was just going for science and didn't end up getting it. Now I do get a science card. And I luckily grab the 7 points there, which that's going to help out a lot. And now I'm at 42, they're at 57. Very close game at the very end. So we see the final totals up, and there you have it. I had a ton of points in coins. They had a ton of points in coins. Their god points, 16 total. But it comes down to 74 versus 74, and just because they had more blue cards than me, they actually win the game. Now, how do you like that? Crazy game, but that's how a top player is able to. I thought I was playing so well, but a top player is able to masterfully figure out how to move through. And even though I was getting so many points and extra coins through the linking symbols of all those divine temples, and I had them on the run with going for science, and they had to allow me to take some points at certain times, they still were able to cover up those science symbols underneath their wonders and, yeah, make it effective for them. And they saved those wonders to do that. They didn't want to just discard them for coins. They wanted to build their wonders at the right times. And having all your wonders built is a good passenger way to win. A pilot uses their extra turns to try to slide into a good victory, usually a science, but or a pilot does that, but a passenger, they're just going to just build all 4, or in this case 5 wonders, and make the opponent not get the points from those wonders, and make every single move giving them points, including a good passenger is going to make the bad cards give them points from their wonders. So yeah, they were following everything exactly how you should follow it for a good passenger at the very end when they were out of their extra wonders, and they ended up closing it in with a tie. I thought earlier in that game, wait, why didn't they use Zeus to get rid of a card or get rid of my science symbol and then still have an extra turn themselves? But maybe that was the wrong call. That would have been the wrong. They wouldn't have given them Aphrodite. So yeah, all in all, crazy game. They needed to get those 9 points from pyramids. They needed to get the 9 points from Aphrodite. Having the extra turn wouldn't have helped them as much. Getting Piraeus earlier is fine. And then Piraeus makes you play a little passenger-y, like, oh, I've used my last extra turn now, bummer. I'm just going to have an extra, what does Divine Theater need? An extra papyrus from Piraeus. So it made it even cheaper. And yeah, it came down to a tie at the very end. So all in all, great games, and I've been wanting to post about them for a while, but yeah, now finally getting around to it. So the first one, a military loss. The second one with Frankenstein was a 1 point I won by. Very lucky on my part. I'll give them that. And then finally, a tied up game with Frankenstein. So I think I did my best to show a good good fight, but yeah, I was fully outmatched in those 3 games, and yeah, just yeah, lost 2 games versus 3 in that series. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching this, and hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and continue to play Seven Wonders Duel. Watch my content. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.